Hey everybody, this is Mr. Wicker. What we're going to do today in this video is show you how this is applied in the real world, how real musicians use these to write their music. We'll be using Noteflight.com, which is a website that you should be familiar with, to show you what it looks like when we plug in these notes to make our music. And before we do move to Noteflight, we're going to review this and then learn a couple of things first before moving on. So, okay, what you'll need here is access to Noteflight.com later on. For right now, a piece of paper and a pencil to help you take down notes would be helpful as well. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to review this real quickly. We have here the whole note, which is 4 beats long. We talked about how 2 half notes, we talked about how 1 half note is 2 beats long, and they're each 2 beats long. So when you have 2 plus 2, it equals 4. A quarter note is a fourth, so it's 1/4 here, 1/4 there, 1/4 there, 1/4 there. It takes 4 quarters to make a whole, and 8/8 notes to make a whole, and 16/16 notes to make a whole. And as our rhythm tree, this is what this is, as it gets further down, the smaller these notes are, or the smaller the fraction, so the faster, excuse me, that was my phone, the faster the notes are. So that's our review. I'm going to open this here. So get your paper and pencil out. We just need to know some definitions here. This is our vocabulary. This is our vocabulary. I'm just going to say vocab for short, because I'm still pretty slow at writing on this thing. Vocab. Okay, what do we need to know before going to Noteflight? First, we need to know what time signature is. Time signature. Very important to know what a time signature is. It's just a fancy music word, which tells you how many beats are allowed in a measure. Time signature. Tells you how many beats, tells you how many notes, not notes, how many beats, how many in a measure. Okay, now measure is a word that we need to know. So I'm going to underline that. Measure is really important to know. Excuse me. A measure Here's another vocabulary word. Measure. And this is the space or the length. Measure is the length. Or the space between it's supposed to be a W. Between bar lines or measure lines, but I like to call them bar lines. They're both right. Some people say bar lines and some people say measure lines. I like bar lines because right now it's a shorter word. Bar lines. One. Yeah, two. Okay, one more word. Let's make this one red. Bar lines. Well, what a bar line is, let's write bar line. Well, measure line or a bar line is just a line. Line. Oh, actually, I'll go back. It's a vertical line. Vertical means it's up and down. Vertical. And this separates the measures. Vertical lines, more singular, vertical line that separates it's supposed to be an A. Separates the measures. That's all it does. It just shows you where a measure is. That separates the measures. Just tells you where one starts and where one ends. So you have 3 vocabulary words: time signature, measure, and the bar line. So let's look at what those things are. I'll make this bigger here. Most of you should have a Noteflight account because we made one together. I'm trying to make this bigger here. Can I not make this? I can change this, right? I'm having some difficulties here. Well, if you're unsure if you don't have one, or if you're unsure that you have one, you go to noteflight.com and you hit sign up. Hit I consent and sign up using Google. Click your name there. Go to Create, the top left-hand corner, hit OK. Okay. So we have a blank measure, and I want to click here. Well, actually, let's go back. We have a measure here and a measure here. We said, oh well, my bad. Let's go even more back. Let's start with time signature. This is the time signature. 4 is the time signature, which tells us that in every measure, in this case, we have 4 beats in a measure. A measure is from this line to this line. So in 4 beats, we can put 4 beats worth of music here. From here to here, we can have 4. These are the bar lines, vertical up and down lines that separate the measures. So in this measure we have 4, in this measure we have 4. From here to here is 4. And at the end we have the double bar line, which just means that this is the end. That's all that means. If it's double like this, it means it's the end. So I'm going to click here. There's a cursor now, that blinking line. I want to bring my arrow to slightly to the right of the blinking line. I'm going to click anywhere right there. Right now I have 1 quarter note, but I want to start with a half note. No, sorry, I want to start with a whole note. So I come over here and I change it to a whole note, and now this is all filled up. There's no more notes I can place in here, and it shows you that by this cursor moving over to the next measure. It says, hey, that's all we can do here, so it moves over. So all 4 beats is here, and we know the whole note is 4 beats. That's why it takes the whole measure. Now I'm going to add 2 half notes. So I'm going to put in a note here and change it to a half, and I'm going to put in another half. Now the cursor has moved over to the next measure, and that's why, and it's filled up because I have 2 half notes. 2 beats here, 2 beats there. Next measure, I want quarter notes. Slightly to the right, slightly to the right. And now we have 4 quarters. I can have 4 beats. 4 quarters. Let's do 8th notes here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 eighth notes, and it moves over. And why don't we put 16th notes? Should have 16. Now these are really small now. Oops. They're smaller, so I can put more of them in here. And they're faster. So I'm going to hit this, highlight the first measure here. Then I'm going to come over and hit play. And as it's playing, notice that it's getting smaller and smaller, or faster and faster. Listen. If I wanted to count along, count to 4 for every measure, because there's 4 beats per measure. I can do that too. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have it. All I did was just show you how the notes we discussed earlier are applied in this website. In the next video, we're going to put this into Chrome Music Lab, so check that out too. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.